how are you all doing? I haven't been very active on YouTube lately. I apologize. Actually, I really tried. I did some live feeds. I tried to do a couple of live feeds earlier on, a couple of weeks ago, a week or two ago, and they did not quite work out because it seems like my upload speed is really, really tanking lately. And I would start off with a steady stream, and then all of a sudden it just goes to hell. The only way for me to do live streams right now is in the built-in, without using Open Broadcaster, and using the built-in YouTube live stream app, if you will. And using that, I can do a fairly stable live stream, but the resolution is so bad you really just see my nose and nothing else. It's like, boom! I have a very old-fashioned low-res camera, and it's not very, very good. But anyway, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about COVID-19 and how it's affected me and my family. Well, I don't have kids. I have a girlfriend. But I don't have kids. We don't have kids yet. But we both work in the same for the same employer. I'll just say that. And my job I work in the IT department. Our job has become, we're now a support house for remote and distance learning. And we're a very, very, very small crew. My focus is mostly on devices and hardware service support and maintenance. We have one person doing, their primary focus is maintaining our various databases. We have a network person. We have 2 support people. And I kind of bounce between all of them. I do a little bit of everything. I have been just absolutely slammed. We've all been slammed with work. And you try to take an entire educational institution and move it online in the span of 1 week. There's going to be some hiccups. There's going to be some challenges. And that's what my job and my coworkers, our whole team, that's what we do. We try to find solutions and make things work. Our job is to make it work at all costs. And, I think we've exhausted our budget, which normally lasts us well into the summer. We've pretty much exhausted our budget on a lot of just buying different software, retooling our entire infrastructure, and it's just been, oh my god, it's been hell. But I can say this much: I am thankful every day that I still have a job and I'm still getting a steady paycheck, and I'm practically guaranteed to continue receiving a steady paycheck throughout this entire pandemic. And I look at that as it's just a blessing, because I know so many people, some of you folks viewing this video, some of you might be affected in a way that prevents you from receiving a paycheck at all. And I believe me, I think about that every day. And even my own girlfriend, she may not continue receiving a steady paycheck throughout this ordeal. And I just thank my lucky stars that I have managed to get us in a position where we can live off of one income. And, that's luck. A little bit of luck, a little bit of future planning, and just thinking things ahead and not overspending. When I bought this house, I had the intention of being able, I could pay for everything on my own without a roommate, without a live-in girlfriend, without any of those things. So because I planned it that way, we're in a good place. And I'm just very grateful for that. Everything that I buy is generally in cash. And I try to avoid using, my credit card or financing things. I did finance my car, but that's to keep free available cash in the event of an emergency or in a pinch, to keep money in the bank. And so far, that's worked out fantastic. But some of my viewers, you may not be so lucky, and I send my heart out to you, because we're all in this together, ultimately. And we're all affected by this. Everyone I know is affected by this. Either increased workload, decreased workload, no income at all. I know if, it's funny, it's not funny, it's luck that I don't know very many people that have been infected by this virus. I have 2 relatives that are suspect cases of COVID-19, both of them cousins that are my age and younger. And both of them live in the South. One of them in California, one of them in Florida. And I have a cousin who was brought to the emergency room. He could not breathe. He had flu-like symptoms, but he tested negative for the flu, and he couldn't breathe. His temperature was rising, and they put him on steroids to allow him to breathe again. And that's terrifying. He was an otherwise healthy individual. I've got another cousin who works, she is a naval corpsman, and she's working in a marine, I believe she works in a marine hospital, or a naval hospital. And she is home quarantined for the foreseeable future. It's quite scary. There are some cases of COVID-19 in my area, and in this very city, there's about, I forget the last number. It was in the double digits though. But it only takes one person to infect an entire. This all started with one case, and now there are, I don't have my phone with me either, but I think the numbers are like 400,000 worldwide cases or something like that, or is that just in this country? I don't know. I should pay more attention to that. But if you're homesick, if you're quarantined, if you're unemployed, if you're stressed out, if you're dealing with some things that you've never thought you'd be dealing with in your life, my heart goes out to you, and I mean that sincerely. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you root for. I don't care if you're a Trumper or not. I'm rooting for you. I hope things get better. They will get better. They're going to get worse before they get better, but ultimately things will get better. I just watched a documentary on the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918, and it sent chills down my spine, because one of the points that was made in that video is that the flu actually had three breakouts of the influenza virus, and one of them happened in, actually it started off, fairly small, fairly mild. That was the first outbreak, was it like in November? And then I believe it was in the spring, it hit back again with a much, much stronger strain. The virus had been mutating, and that's when people started dying like crazy. And then once again, and it broke out because of some unique circumstances, such as the World War I, the way that they were packing dormitories and barracks with men in such cramped quarters that, if one person gets it, they're all getting it guaranteed. So that wasn't really a good thing. They weren't practicing social distancing like we're pushing these days. But anyway, so that was kind of scary, because I see it happening. I see this happening again. So what's going to happen is, hopefully, our fearless leader is not allowed to pack churches on Easter Sunday, and hopefully we're able to continue social distancing until we start seeing cases drop down to zero, or new cases dropping down to nearly nothing. And then we can slowly come out of our shells and slowly start reintegrating into society and slowly start shopping again in our stores that we're used to shopping in. And life will continue. But if we don't, if we do this, if we come out of our shells, so to speak, too early, what will happen is the virus will go around yet again to those who haven't gotten it yet and don't have any immunities to the virus in its current strain. So that is terrifying. If we do not a lot of work and a lot of heartache has been shed, and a lot of effort has been made to slow down the rate of infection as of right now. And if we just go ahead and start living lives as we normally have, and we just lift all the bans, lift all the shelter-in-place orders, and we go back to normal life next week, all of that bloodshed was for nothing. Because what will happen is an outbreak like you haven't seen before. Because now the virus is has its foothold firmly in place in our country. There are people all over that currently have it, that are quarantined, that are not able to go out, that are either being forced to shelter in place or they are voluntarily. But if they start coming out and we start packing the shopping malls, packing churches, going back to school, what's going to happen? The outbreak will just spread like wildfire. And then our death tolls will then begin to rise precipitously. And that is my fear. My biggest fear right now is that school's in session April 1st, April 4th. And before you know it, if you think the stock market crashing is the worst thing that could happen to us, man, think again. At this point right now, people are losing money left and right. Their retirement savings are being burned through. That's an unfortunate reality of this. And that's going to happen. I mean, it sucks. I mean, look, if I lose my job tomorrow and we have no more income, I mean, it won't take me long to burn through the savings I do have. I spent a lot of my savings on this house getting things fixed and repaired and such. So I understand what that's like. I get it. If you have no money coming in, what are you going to do? Well, one of the great things that has taken place as a result of all this is if I'm unable to pay my mortgage company cannot take negative action against me. It just adds it to my balance until I get back to work and I can start paying it again. What's going to happen is that mortgage payment will just be tacked on to the end of the mortgage due date. The mortgage due dates, the maturity dates are going to have to change, I would imagine, to reflect what's happening right now. So your mortgage, let's say it's due to be paid off on December 1st, 2040. Well, it's going to be payable on, matured, in other words, paid off on March or April of 2040. I believe that's what's going to end up happening. That they're going to have to renegotiate the mortgage payment schedules, and it's not free money. You're going to have to pay it. But utilities can't be shut off. Your balance will continue to rack up, and they'll work out a payment plan with you, but they can't shut you off. Not because of this. And what they'll do is they'll set up payment plans for those who cannot pay their bills. The one thing that will be a problem is right now I can go out and buy groceries if I need to. Now, if I lose my job and I have no money to pay for groceries, well, then, there are some charitable organizations that can help you. None of this is pleasant. None of this is easy. It's actually quite bad. But if we as a society, if we do this right, we can persevere. We can get through this. We've done this before. Our ancestors did this in 1918. The Great Depression was, from what I hear, quite depressing. We've gone through things like this before, where just normal life ceases to function. And we have to readjust our priorities. We have to readjust our expectations. And that's pretty much my thought on all this. And again, I hope that all of you folks out there dealing with this, either you're infected or somebody you know is infected and they're struggling for their lives, look, my heart is with you. And again, I don't care what your race is. I don't care what your political affiliations are. I don't care. None of that matters. And it shouldn't matter anyway. But my heart goes out to you. And this is a depressing time. I mean, my girl and I took out a little road trip today. We didn't leave the car. I said, okay, you've been in the house for 2 weeks by yourself while I'm at work. Let's go for a drive. So we went out to the seacoast. We didn't take the Miata. We took the Santa Fe. And I said, look, we're not leaving the car. We're not getting coffee. We're not getting donuts. We're sitting in the car. We're going to drive. We drove like 60 miles. And we're just going to drive up the seacoast. We're going to just take a look at the water. We're not... And we saw people out just, as if nothing were happening. As if this was a normal Saturday. We saw people just shaking hands, hugging, kissing on the streets. People walking along because the beaches in New Hampshire are totally closed off, but people were still walking on the sidewalks, and a lot of them were practicing the whole social distancing thing. But this is not a normal Saturday. We're not having fun. We're just gonna get out of the house and just sort of have a little bit of get a little fresh air, and we both appreciated doing that. But now I got to put gas back in my car. So, it's tough. Humans are social creatures, and one of the bright spots of modern life is that we've moved a lot of our socializing to an online platform of one form or another, be it YouTube, be it Facebook, and there's like 5 people on MySpace right now, I'm sure. But we've moved it onto electronic platforms. And it's due to a lack of in-person social interaction that people are either getting depressed or they're getting innovative. One of the great things I'm seeing in my neighborhood especially is driveway parties. People are actually meeting up in the street, in the driveways, 6 feet apart, and they are, sharing a laugh, having drinks in their driveways. I live in a very quiet neighborhood where you can actually do that, and nobody's going to really mess with you. So people are improvising. And if you've been in a store lately, if you actually have gotten out and you've gone into a store, I actually had to pick up a few things. I needed oil for my car because I had the oil changed. Oh, let me tell you about that. I had the oil changed in my Santa Fe, and I didn't go to the dealer. I went to I don't change my own oil in that car because I don't want to. I changed my own oil in this one because I don't want anybody messing with it. But the Santa Fe is just a daily beater. I don't really care that much about it, so I bring it to the... It actually ends up costing me just as much money to have somebody do it than if I were to do it myself. And then I check their work after. So I brought it to a local Quickie Lube place that I've used many times before in that car. And so you drive... So the way you normally deal with this place is you go in, you drive up to the door, they let you in, you drive your car into the bay, you get out of the car, you go sit in a little lobby, and they change your oil, and you go back and you sign papers and swipe your card and whatnot. And this time, it was a little different. They had a big sign on the door, "Stay in your car." Oh, okay then. So I drive up to the door opens, I drive into the bay, and there's signs everywhere. "Sir, open your window 3 inches." Okay. Like, what the hell? So I open the window 3 inches. The guys have got face masks, they've got gloves on, and And you can hear their voices are muffled through the face masks. What would you like today, sir? Like, just semi-synthetic. Thank you. And then they didn't even have me sign the credit card slip because they didn't want me to hand back anything. It's wild. But they did the oil change. I checked the oil level when I pulled over to get some groceries because we were running low on a couple of things, and I checked the oil level, and it was about half a quart low. So I had to buy a quart of oil. Anyway, long story short, story long. So I bought a quart of oil to refill my crankcase. I wasn't going to go back because I just didn't want to deal with the hassle. But, yeah, this car I changed the oil in myself. It's harder to do because you have to put it on ramps. It's a pain in the ass. But I don't want anybody touching this car. That's just the reality of it. Yeah. So you go to a grocery store these days, and or a Target. I went to a Target because I needed. What the hell did we need? We needed we needed some cleaners and stuff. And so I go into Target, and there's all these taped off X's in the checkout lines, and the idea is that when you're checking out, you have to stand 6 feet apart. So they put the X's like 7 or 8 feet apart to accomplish or to accommodate for the carriages and such. And then you're walking along, and you hear the normal Target music, dee dee dee, and then all of a sudden a booming voice comes on. Welcome to Target. Stay 6 feet away from your nearest human being. These are some different times. If you need customer service, for example, forget it. Nobody's doing customer service these days. It's get in, get your crap, and get the fuck out. That's the motto today. Stand 6 feet away from your partner. It's the coronavirus reel. What else? What else did I see that I wanted to talk about? So yeah, there's the X marks everywhere. Every store I've been into a couple of them, and because I've needed this or that just to keep things going. I had to buy a doorbell for work because, long story short, we're doing device pickup and delivery. If one of our students has a device that's damaged and needs to be repaired. And we have to have them come in to bring the device to us. Because our entire building is shut down, we're using the back door, which we have no window to. So I put a little wireless doorbell there, so that way they can at least ring the bell and contact us to let us know. And I've got a monitor set up with our exterior security camera so we can see who they are before we open the door. Just stuff like that. I mean, we live in a world now where this bottle of Purell is probably worth more than a gallon of gas. I mean, well, this is actually quite old. This is from 2015, so I don't even think this is still good. But, man, what the hell? But, look, we'll get through it all in one piece. Some of us may not, though, and that's it's easy to say it's all going to be good, everything's going to be fine, but you don't know that. You don't know who's going to get it next and how they will take it, how their body will be affected by it. And that's the scary part. That's what makes this whole thing so nerve-wracking, because I'm trying to keep away from my parents because they're older, and chances are it could kill them. So I'm not visiting my parents right now. I usually go there once a week, and I'm trying to keep my distance because I don't want, if I have it and don't know it, I don't want to infect my dad and kill him, or my mom. I mean, that's very real. I mean, that's where we really are right now, and that's what makes it so terrifying. So anyway, well, I hope you've all enjoyed this rambling chat that I've just spouted off. Hope things get better before they get worse. Or no, that's not what I meant to say. Hope things don't get worse and they get better from here. So social distance yourselves, guys. Try to be aware of where you are and what you're doing and why you're doing it. That's the key takeaway. Just be aware of what's going on and try to take this very seriously, because it really is a serious thing. We need to be conscious of that and not try to brush it off like it's just an attempt to make a certain politician look bad. Yeah, Fox News. Anyway, till then.